Bad hair day. Take 5. Here's not quite right today. Welcome to Harburn Double O, or indeed welcome back to Harburn Double O. I've done a couple of videos using these chips there, the ESP Fit 2 and the Picow and the Picow 2Ws using Rocrail. And a lot of people say, what does WIO mean? So it's wireless input output. So I'm going to do a video on inputs and I'm going to do a video on outputs. This one going to be the input one, and then the next video will be the one for the outputs and how the two can tie together using the inputs and outputs in the second video. And I'm also going to do a third video as well, doing away with these and just use the sensors without Rocrail and without the computer. Because some people have got Rocrail, some people have got a computer, and I'll say, look mum, no computer, no pun intended. So I'll tell you the workbench now, and we'll start showing you how these inputs work in Rocrail. Inputs then, what is an input? Something that gives a signal to this. This gives a signal to the computer to say something has happened, i.e. a train has passed, a point has moved, and so on. You have various types here. I've got 3 types here just to show you. I've also got a Hall effect as well. I showed you in the previous video with the point motor. This is a little reed sensor. When a magnet passes over, the 2 reeds make contact and it gives you the signal back to it. Now, I buy these with the boards, what you call them modules, pre-made up. It saves me doing the bits of electronics inside it. You've always got a voltage in, a ground and a signal out as well with it. Some have got 2 pins for signal, some have got 1 pin for signal. Like this one here, this is just a light sensor, and something goes across it, the current changes and gives out a signal to the computer, either be high or low. The same again, it's got a voltage in, a ground and the signal out. The one we've used today, this one here, it's a little infrared sensor. When something goes across it, it bounces a signal back from the emitting LED back to the sensing LED, and it makes it go high or low. And this one here makes it go, it's constantly high until it goes low. Something goes across it and it goes low. So we've got a out for the signal, we've got a G and D for the ground, and the N1 there is the VCC, and it can be from 3.3 volts up to about 12 volts. I find they're happy about 3.3 volts, 5 volts. I did try 12 volts with this one here, and it does get a bit warm, so in fact I'm going to use it with the ESP Fit 2. 3.3 volts is going to be fine to set it up. So let's get wire it up here. Measure it in the right way. Red for voltage, black for ground. I've already wired this into pin 18 on the 3-volt. Pin 18 is quite hard to see. Down here is the ESP Fit 2 ones with the numbers, and down here you get the ESP Fit 2 numbers as well, so it's a bit confusing. So pin 18 on this side here is actually pin 26 on the 3-volt board. I tend to use these outside numbers because I come across here, these ones here are little asterisks. They're been blanked, there are no numbers on top of it, but they do correspond to these pins up here. So you got pin 5, then down below pin 5 you've got pin 17, 16. So it's not been marked 16, 17, it's just been marked with asterisks. So rather than using that, I'm going to use these ones here. I could use the chips, the numbers on top of the chip as well, but I've done a wee diagram, I'll let you show it. That corresponds to the outside numbers against the address numbers of Rocrail. So address number 1 is pin 45, address number 2 is pin 0, and all the way down. 13 is interesting because it comes with RX, and it's marked RX on this little board here. So it's no like the Pi W where 1 matches 1, 2 matches 2 and so on, a bit easier. This again, these numbers on this board here are all over the place. So you need to be very careful when you're trying to match the address input. So I put in 18, but it's wrote put twin pin 26 there, and that's going to be address number 9 on the WIO and Rocrail. So I'll put the pin into pin 18 there. I put the black wire in, red wire in. This one goes to signal. Black goes to ground. Red will go to 3.3 volts. I'll set this up here. I'll put the power in here. I'll put 12 volts. It can take 7 to 12 volts going into it. And that saves this getting overloaded from the power. If you're using servos and the likes of it, this can go up to 1 amp, which is more than enough to do 2 servos, and what we're doing for inputs is milliamps, so there's not a problem with it. So I'll plug it in, and we'll see how it goes with the Rocrail. So that's it fired up. Only takes 2 or 3 seconds to get it fired up, and lo and behold, the lights come on here. There are some lights not on here. They'd be set as inputs. If there's no on, it'd be set as input. And some of these ones here do nothing at all. I say again, there's 29 pins on this board here, and Rocrail WIO 16 uses 16 pins here, input or output or a combination of all of them. In Rocrail, if I open up the control, in fact I'll go to WI first, I want you to see it, WIO, and here it is. This is this chip here, ID number 62, it's a local, and it tells you what they're all set to. It's what you see. The first 8 are set as outputs, and the last 16 are set as inputs, and we're using this pin here, pin 19, or pin 9 I should say, as an input on this board here. So hold up the control panel, go to monitor, sensor monitor, and I'll just make it a bit bigger for you, put it in the middle here. And when I set this to go here, you see pin number 1, or pin 9 here, will go high, and it goes to state 1. So that's feeding the Rocrail, saying that this thing has now been censored, and the sensor has now been triggered. Now, if you put this on your layout here, you can use your train, for example. When the train goes across, it picks it up, and you can do a train counter when it goes past the gaps. You can count the carriages as well, so you can do a train carriage count. So there are quite a few uses in it. And it does record how many times it's been set off and not set. It records each time it's been set. These LEDs in this board here can get unsoldered, so if you want to put it inside a building or underneath the tracks there, you can put wires to the output, or the input I should say, for the sensor. So it's not much to it, it's just that once it goes by, that's it set. So the next one, I'll show you the outputs, how Rocrail can output something, and also I'll tie in this here. As when this triggers an event, I'll trigger an event for the output. So your input is going to trigger an event for the output. So that makes sense. Mergs, they say it our way, they take about givers and takers. So yeah, I'll leave that to Merg. So hope you enjoyed that, folks. I will catch you again soon. So cheers, folks. I'll catch you again.